Good morning, or afternoon as the case may be. Just a quick video here on the introduction of our book we just published. I'll show you a picture of it here. It's titled Driving on the Moon and Other Musings. It's by John A. Gilkison and Philip R. Knox co-authored the book with me. And see if I can turn it around here. Here's the back side. And it's available on Amazon for $12.95 for paperback, and it's the Kindle price is $7.95. So we just published it. It was posted on Amazon on the 18th of December, and we've been working on the book for a couple of months. Since early September. It's a compilation of blogs I wrote at EV World, which stands for Electric Vehicle World. It's an online magazine about electric cars. Been around since about 2000, and I'm a blogger there. And I've been writing blogs for EV World since 2005. And I had over 90 blogs there, and some of them I felt were quite good and needed to be made into a book. We also had 4 feature articles, which Phil helped me write. So what happened was my daughter, who's published books before, got a hold of me in early September and said, "Dad, we ought to make your blogs into a book." And she only thought there was 15 blogs there. And I told her, no, there's over 90 blogs, and she just hadn't looked far enough back. And so I went to visit her in October and took a USB flash drive with me with all the blogs and the articles transferred to it. And also I wrote up a foreword, an acknowledgments page, a table of contents, and both Phil and I put together a list of references for the book. The book is 284 pages long, and it has a variety of interesting subjects. What I did is I ended up breaking down the subjects of the blogs into 15 different categories, and this is kind of loose. A lot of blogs could fit in either 1 or 2 or 3 different categories. But anyway, I needed some way to organize it for the table of contents. So I'll show that to you now here. See if I can manage this. Here's an example of a table of contents right there. So, for example, Chapter 1 is miles per gallon, and starts out with astronomical driving, which is one of my most recent blogs, and ends up with driving on the moon. The reason the book got named Driving on the Moon was when I wrote that blog, I was casting around for some way to get people to understand that the air is a real thing. And when your car is traveling through the air, it's creating resistance. And people are just like fish in that sense. We all live in an ocean of air, and we don't appreciate the fact that it's there most of the time. I mean, we know it's there intellectually, of course, but and so I see people put various accoutrements on their vehicles, things that create high drag, and they just don't even seem to give it any thought. And thought to myself, I said, what do people think they're doing? They think they're driving on the moon, because there's no atmosphere on the moon. And I said, wow, that'd make a good blog title. So I wrote it. And I thought that kind of concept drove a lot of my blog titles. I found having a good title for a blog helped the blog write itself. And of course, I didn't always get a good title, but sometimes I did. I'll give you an example here. I'll read a few out to you. I don't want to read every blog title to you, but Tragedy of the Horizon, Our Perfect Storm, The Carbon Industrial Complex, Shoveling Sunshine. That's about how if you drive an electric car and you have solar power, you can actually, you're essentially shoveling sunshine into your locomotive. 1 trillion tons of carbon. Let me see here. The Jevons Paradox Asteroid. I did a whole video on that. You should look it up. Let me see here. The eighth sphere has to do with the Copernican revolution and how in some respects people still talk about sunsets and sunrise, and although we know we live in a Copernican universe, sometimes we don't feel or think that way. Creeping Normalcy, Tantrum Standards Time, Santa Claus Needs a Houseboat, 4 Pounds a Second is one of my favorite blogs. It's about how the sun converts mass into energy, and 4 pounds a second is the amount of mass converted into energy that heats this planet. And I broke it down for New Mexico State University campus here on how many ounces of energy per second are heating campus. Because I've seen someone give a talk to some students that we provided all the heat for campus, and I was thinking to myself, no, we didn't. Without the sun, you'd have to heat campus from 453 degrees Fahrenheit below zero up to 70 degrees above zero, and that would be a tall task. Some of my favorite articles, but are also blogs. I wrote 2 blogs: 100 miles per hour and 32 miles per gallon. And Phil helped me write that. And 100 miles per hour and 100 miles per gallon. Now the reason for it, with a low drag form, you could get up to 32 miles per gallon with a certain vehicle design using an internal combustion engine at 100 miles per hour. With that same design, only if you went all electric, you could do 100 miles per hour at 100 miles per gallon, because electric cars are 3 times more efficient. And we're trying to make that real to people. Easter Island Lumber Company. The Earth's half-empty oil tank, where we visualize the amount of oil that's on the planet. In 1859, there was probably enough oil on the planet to fill a sphere 5 miles in diameter. And it could be a bit larger than that, but compared to the size of the planet, it sure isn't much. Let's see here. Yeah, here's the 4 articles at the end. Free Fuel, Riding on the Wind, was written by Jessica Savage. Night Lights in the Chevy Volt was written by me, and it had to do with if we electrified our driving, how much outdoor lighting could be gotten rid of, and you could charge your car at night, and if you had more energy efficient outdoor lighting at night, it would completely take up that load. The Spirit of Echo Mater by John Gilkson and Philip Knox. and a High-Speed Aerodynamic Paradigm by John Gilkison and Phil Knox. So there you are. It's a very enjoyable process to put this book together. It was a real learning curve. Most of the work involved proofing because the blogs were already written, but they needed to be spell checked and punctuation checked, and sometimes the syntax needed to be corrected and so forth. So there's our book, Driving on the Moon by John Gilkison and Philip Knox. Now you may be familiar with that artwork on the front cover. That's from a movie poster for Forbidden Planet. But the reason I ended up using that was because I was looking for artwork that just showed a vehicle driving on the moon, and I couldn't find any such thing. And so there we have Robbie the Robot driving a vehicle on a different planet surface, but it's the same concept. So I went ahead and used that because it was made in 1950 and it's not, it's free access. So there you have it. I hope you'll go to Amazon.com and consider buying our new book. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.